Yo, morning, kids. I was screwing around this morning while I'm waiting to go to my kid's prom stuff. Well, I'm not actually going to my kid's prom stuff, but he's got prom stuff to do today, and we got photos and other things. So, I'm killing some time this morning, and I was screwing around inside of Tabletop Simulator, building some more things. This is going to be the sort of the second half, I guess, of the Defiance and Flan stuff that I was working on. This stuff I just store. Well, it doesn't matter. I store it under my plain old workshop table, which is this one right here. So this is just a generic flat room, nothing to it. Then using One World, we're gonna smash this, and I'll show you some cool stuff today. Oops, I hit the button too many times. I'm gonna do that one. There's an update for Tabletop Simulator. They've updated the Unity base to bring it up to the latest 2019 version or something like that. Look that up and see what's going on with that. Let's see, where are we going here? Games, a workshop, and the browse. Maybe we can see it from here. Yeah, oh, this is just going to be the workshop stuff. But yeah, the Tabletop Simulator stuff has just received an update to bring it up to some of the newer deals. That's actually kind of cool. I wasn't aware of that. It seems to, I don't know if it has really made a difference or not, but that's neither here nor there. So, in game. This is a table that I use just to work on building things, and this map here is called the Under Crypt. Let's crack onto the right monitor and go the old PDF. Here we have the Defiance and Flan PDF that I was talking about last time. Split this off into 2 pages, and we will scroll through it to the second one, or the last one, I believe. Appendix 3, Mission Map. So this adventure was called The Dead at High Sun. Interesting adventure where you go to the graveyard inside of the city of Flan and do some things. And then here's the map. So once again, I'm going to crack out my GIMP. My GIMP might not be sized properly. I wonder if I move. There we go. Sort of instantaneous resizema deal. This map right here. So the easiest thing to do is to take this. You want to crack this. This program here that I use is called. What is this program called? Help About PDF Exchange Editor version 8. You can get it for free. With this PDF Exchange Editor, you can do things like go to View, crack on Single Page, go to this page, and then hit File and Export to Images, and then there you go. Just export it to an image, and then when it's all said and done, you can drag that image into GIMP. Inside of GIMP, you can just go to the little box utility and draw a box around the map that you want and hit Image Crop to Selection. Once you've got it cropped to selection, you can grab the bucket tool and turn the threshold down a little bit because you want a bucket filled with white to get rid of the grids. Now, the reason that I say get rid of the grids is because when you're inside the game, depending on how big you want this to be, all you need to do inside Tabletop Simulator is adjust the grid size, and that'll actually make this dungeon or this Under Crypt either like really big or really small, but I'll show you that in a bit here. So if you just like box dump, you can see how this went away a little bit. The blue lines kind of disappear on the outside, and you can do the same thing on the inside. So that's kind of an easy way, just by filling and turning your threshold up or down, to make it just sort of more black and white. Then you can grab your pen tool and adjust the size of your pen. Then you can do things like, okay, I want to delete this because I don't want that stuff being seen. Numbers. I can leave that it says north, and then I got to do a thing with these. So with these, I just used the box tool. when over certain parts like this part here. So Control C, Control V will create a new layer. I'm going to call this, let's just call it door 1 on the right hand side up here. And then if you hit move, you can actually move this. See, now I've created it as a new layer, and it's just a piece. I could just sort of take this and dump it right over top. When I hit the bottom piece, with a little bit of eraser, oops, you need to be on the right layer. Back to keyboard shortcuts. Position this thing in such a way where if you go right clicking down and move it down to the bottom map, and then just take your little finger smudger, change the size of your tool. Let's go 5, or maybe you just sort of start smudging this away so that it looks like it's feel here. Get rid of stuff away. Sort of zoom out. You can sort of see that it looks a little bit of a mess, but I mean, you could also just go with your white tool, like the smudges off sort of thing. You can see what's happening there. I could bucket fill some of this too if I wanted to. Whiten it up a little bit, but that's just a quick and easy way on how to get rid of these secret doors just by using the box tool to cut and paste. So once I did that, then I store everything in a certain folder. Drag this over here and hopefully this will pop up. Let's go to my right monitor. View, and we'll go with the extra large icons. These are the last ones that I did. So sometimes you want to use JPEGs, other times you want to use a PNG. And how you discern the difference is if you want PNGs or certain areas of your map to not be there, you need to be PNGs. But the base layer for one world, which is, let's go back to my screen here. So this would be the base layer, the bottom level, the main map. This can just be a JPEG to save space. I'm sure you could use PNG. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't see why you couldn't. So I've gone into GIMP. That's my right monitor. I should probably move this a little closer. Gimpster. Weird how it doesn't pop up. All right, so cut out all the stuff, and then I'm going to use this tool here called Fuzzy Select. I'm going to adjust the threshold accordingly, but essentially I just want to choose the center of this map. So let's maybe knock this down a little bit so that it chooses less. Make sure you go to Image, go to Transform, or no, you want to do Layer, Transparency, and add Alpha Channel. Once you do that, you can just delete. See, I missed a few things here. If I zoom in, Control Z, I'm going to increase this. Do it again. Weird. Control Shift A for me gets rid of my stuff. Now what I need to do is I would have also done these secret doors too, the same way that I did this one. So with that done, Shift D gets my eraser out. Size a little bit. Well, that was quite a bit too much. Delete these stairs. Got rid of the stairs, and that leaves me with this. Now here's the problem that you're going to run into. If you export this as a PNG, even with the transparency on the inside, it's going to show up as a solid token inside of Tabletop Simulator. So this map also too, one of the first things you got to do is rescale this map. You want it to be 1600 by 945. For whatever reason, that's the size that One World uses. Nice and easy to resize it. Once it's done, you just got to think, okay, what's half? So you can go top to bottom, And if we're 1600 long, we want to be 900 wide. So I'm going to make a box about this big, butt the end up to here. And then right here, you can see that I'm 871 wide. So I want to go over to 900, 800. Got to go down to 800. 800, 801, whatever. I think I could probably go there. Cool. I can go that route too. And I'm going to go to image, and I'm going to go crop to selection. Now what I've done is I've basically just cut this map in half, which is what you want to do, because now that there's like I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know why it works this way, but now that there's these edges that are sort of opened, it'll show up as a transparent deal. So let's go to my right monitor, out my windows, and go to my images. So this is what my images are like when it's all said and done. Here's one and here's the other one. I just basically cut them in half, and you can see the black part that leads in on both sides. Now what's going to happen is when you drag that in and create it as a token inside of Tabletop Simulator, so if I hit the build button, you'll see everything that I've been doing sort of appear. Once this is all said and done, I can do a thing like this where I can just go lock, and there's the piece. I'll lock it out in space here. But if you didn't do this, this inside part would be filled with white. For whatever reason, like when you're looking down at it, this map, even in PNG format, has to be split in half in order for you to get to so that you can drop these little things inside. Like, see how it moves around inside the map box, or whatever you want to call it, inside the dungeon. The only way you're going to get it to do that is if you split it down the middle. I should actually kind of show you what happens without it, but I'm not sure if I have that in my Under Crypt layer. Here we go. So let's go back here real quick. I'll show you what happens if I go to my right monitor. This was it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this PNG file. You can see that it's all one piece, and I've made the middle part invisible. I'm going to drag it into what everybody should have if they're screwing around with TTS, is an Imgur account. I'm going to take this, right click, copy the image address, and then go back to TTS, objects, components, custom, token. I'm going to make this thickness 1 because that's how we, for easy calculations. Control V, and then we're going to import. That'll go through the table a couple of times and do its weird thing, but eventually it'll pop onto the table. Here we go. This is why. I don't know why. This is what happens. I would just resize this. Now, had it worked, the inside should technically be gone, but it's not. And I don't know why it does that. I didn't make the software. I didn't program it, so I can't say. But I do know how to fix it. And the fix to it is simply just cutting it in half inside of GIMP, and then exporting each of those halves so that the pieces go to my right monitor. Because this is a solid white border, I think this is how it works. And then this isn't. There's blank or transparent leeway into the image. I think that's how you remedy the situation. So with those two pieces said and done, I'm going to go back to Tabletop Simulator. Unlock this piece and drag it back onto the table. Then I'm going to zoom in and hit clear. And then we will rebuild the table. I got a lot of things to show you today, which is actually kind of sweet. So now that the table has been rebuilt, this is the dungeon. Now I have some extra pieces sitting right over here. I'll explain what this stuff is later, but the general gist of the dungeon is You walk in, you come down the stairs, there's a secret door here, there's a secret door here, and there's a secret door here. But you can find them just by walking by or whatever. So, you know, your player's like, oh, I'm going to search for some secret doors, kind of a thing, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So what I've done over here is I have these things called kickers. You can find kickers on One World's... where is it? In the workshop. You want to go to One World stuff. This guy here. We hit expand. Pretty sure he's the guy that does the kicker stuff. Failed to create token from image. There's custom token. But yeah, you could probably also just do a search for it. It's a very cool thing. And what it does is, or at least what I'm going to show you how to do in this one is, these are set up so that it, like, if you right click, so when this object is locked, it becomes a button that will store the position, scale, and tint of the token it creates. So when it creates a token, if I lock this down and press the button, see, this guy just went a little frickin' squirrely over here. Now we have the secret door showing up, which I thought was a pretty neat way. So, you know, I can unlock this piece, I can scale this and move it over here. And then when I press the button, I can make it appear or disappear. Wow, it really affects the table for some reason, and I do not know why. That is the freaking weirdest thing. All right, we'll set this back down here, lock that in place. Let's go back to clear so that I don't have to screw around with some stuff. Delete, and we are going to build this table. Okay, so there's actually 3 secret doors built over on that section. So does this need to be locked? So there's that secret door, and that secret door. These are just made with a thing called kicker. The reason I'm showing you this is because I think that's a pretty easy way to just create the secret doors without having to fart around with your dungeon too much. You can kind of do this anywhere you want just by cutting out a small image. I went to my GIMP, and then GIMP is always such a pain in the ass. Just took this map, or not this one, but the other one, and I just cut them into small pieces. See, I Control Z back out. Take your little box tool, cut it out, save it as an image, and then once you've saved it as an image, you can just drag it into your Imgur account, and then right-click, copy image address, and then that's all there is to it. You come back into your tabletop simulator, right-click, deactivate it, unlock it, right-click, go to custom, then there it is right there. So that's the image address. You just paste in the image address, and then once you lock it and press the button, it'll whatever image you put in there. I'll show you something else that's actually really cool. If I go back to my right monitor, this is my Imgur account where I have all of my stuff. So these are all folders where I store everything. And one of these is this thing called Tabletop Tokens. If I go here and I go to Tabletop Tokens by Geek Tank Games. All right, these are cool. These little things here allow you to use flat maps and drop artwork down on top of it so that you'll have, like, you can see this image back here. You can have little trees and tents and stuff like that. You just slide them onto the table. They make them out of this like sticky vinyl stuff, and they come in different packs. When the Kickstarter came out, I backed it. Back in the Kickstarter got me, I go to my mapping props, then Tabletop Simulator, Tabletop Tokens by Geek Tank Games. Right here, I got 4 sets: Dungeon, Graveyard, Kickstarter exclusives, oh, maybe 5, Rooftops, and Town Markets. So what I'm doing is under the Rooftop, you get these assets, these are actually pretty freaking sweet. Extra large assets, right? So you've got these dead looking guys in different pools, and you know, this kind of stuff. You can print these out, just lay them down in your map, and they give you that top-down 3D effect. Super easy way to make a room actually come to life and give it some three-dimensional aspects. Lots of cool stuff in this. Tabletop tokens make some wicked stuff. Now here's how you can use these things inside of Tabletop Simulator. Along with this program called Kickers, these little kickers, this one here is actually labeled Kicker. This kicker shows you that it is a spike trap pit. So when I click on that spike trap pit, oh, my little party or whatever is cruising along, and bam, you didn't see the pit. Oh, look, I right messed them up, which is pretty cool. Sent them flying. Sorry about your bad luck. You fell into the spike pit. It actually kind of looks a little weird. I think I might have to rotate it a different way. You just unlock it. I don't know. I'm gonna lock that back in place. But yeah, kicker, spring traps. All sorts of cool stuff that you can do with these things. Make secret doors appear and disappear. Bottom one. This is the far side one. Easy way to do cool kind of stuff like that with these little things, just by making images appear and disappear. Another cool thing that I've shown you before is this. So if we go to like night mode, we're gonna dim it a little bit. You can see this side of the map. I put a little rod here in the description of these rooms is sort of set up. You come in, you go to this side. There's these three. Back to normal. Over in this room, there's 3 skeletons along the wall. So I use these ones, which I'm going to take out. I'll just put the skeletons in, but this is another thing you can do with the tabletop tokens. These were the flat ones. Took them and kind of like launched them up against the wall. He went for a tumble. Round. You get the drift. You can lock it. F8. Rotate them. And then move them any direction you want. This video is probably going to go a little bit longer, but you get the gist. All right, so these aren't going to be staying because they are things that you will need to buy. There's a raised dais with a chair in this room, and there's 3 skeletons. Control C. The grids. There's no grids on this map because of this feature right here. Tabletop Simulator's grid stuff is flaky. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but this little token called Flip Me will cast shadow down grids on your map, and if you click it at different, multiple times, it'll change the size of the grid. It's a fantastic tool. What I like about it is if you're on with different levels, let's turn it off. We go to objects, grids. This is one of the stank things about. See all the grids now, but watch when I start looking straight down, the grids disappear. And I've always sort of got to be looking at an angle, and if you zoom in, the grids do this weird thing for me where they sort of disappear at certain angles, so I don't like to use them. Also, I have grids set to project onto this, so this is grid projection, so I can turn it off. You would have to actually go in here and put grid protection or projection on everything. Now you can see the grid is on the bottom, but it's not on the top. So if you imagine you're playing in a city street kind of a thing, and you're farting around with Tabletop Simulator, that the grid won't project onto the rooftop. When you start getting into combat, things get a little flaky. So I don't like to use the grid inside of Tabletop. I like to leave it off. But this one here, by default, projects a shadow down. So if I was to leave it at these, you can see that if I said each one is 5, this hallway now becomes 1, 2, 3. So you're looking at about 20 feet, right? I take my little mini and I'm going to hit the minus sign, and he would be that big, as opposed to how big he is here, which is an easy way for you to scale the dungeon. My dungeon is either this guy's normal size or this guy's normal size. So I can scale the furniture and stuff inside the game. And just by doing that, I've created this space is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet across. Or if I wanted it to be, say, a little bit bigger, now it is 1, 2, 3. So it's now 15 feet across. And these guys make a little more sense. I usually just hover over top of them and hit plus or minus until he fits inside the 5-foot square with the space. F8, what did I put this guy at? He's 1.5, so if I click on this guy and do the same thing, 5, 1.5, 1.5, he is now scaled up the same way as this guy. Then your 3 skeletons are done and done. So what I do, going back to GIMP, whenever I do my thing, you can see that right here, it's 2 squares. So I'm saying each square is 5 feet, even though it doesn't say that anywhere on this map. I'm saying that each square is 5 feet because this is just supposed to be like a small under crypt. So that's 10 feet across. So by adjusting the flip me, I am now saying that that is roughly 10 feet. You got a little bit there, one in the middle, and one there. So this is my scale. 10 feet across, even though there's 3. There is no way to actually move the scale sideways with flip me. One of the downfalls, there's no offset. That would actually be really cool. Yeah, you can turn it off or adjust the size. I am using second one as my size. Ish. They come in. They see this chair thing with these guys standing up against the wall. I'm not going to give the details of what happens there. And then in the next room, I just read the description. And this room is supposed to... Oh, this kicker's got to go. That's not supposed to be there. So this is supposed to be like a little alchemical room. For whatever reason, I did not lock the table down. And then there's the elements inside of this room. This is some kind of alchemical laboratory thing that you got to do a thing in. Get out of here, Mr. Man. And then you come into the last room. Now, these are also tabletop tokens deals. Oh, wait a second. Might help if I switched over to the right map. Sorry about that. Let's go back to this one really quickly. Here's the alchemical room I was just talking about. You know, around the corner, some things happen. They come around the last corner and they see this room that is described as having paintings on the wall. This is just artwork that I found online. And then I just turned it into a token inside the game, and I just pushed it up against the wall so that it looks like artwork is on the wall. That because I can. There's also runes on these walls. 1, 2, 3. It says there's one on each wall. So I found a rune, created a token. Created a token out of the room. There it is there. And I just locked it in place. And then used F8. Rotate it so that it's going to be at 90, right? So this position, rotation, needs to be 90. And then 90. And then you just basically push it up to the wall over here. When it starts to sink in, you drag it back. Position set. This pile of gold and treasure is supposed to be in this alcove. This is also tabletop token stuff. So that can't stay either, but you can find things inside of... I think I just went under pile. Yeah, gravel pile. Found this somewhere. Ball. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to drop this in here after we scale it down a little bit. Look at it. It sort of is like a pile of junk. But you can right click on this thing and you can change the color to yellow. Now it doesn't really look like a pile of gold, but it does look like a yellow pile of a thing. So last but not least, let's go to my saved objects and let's go to coin. I believe this gold Benny coin, if I pick it up and I hit minus, I can shrink it down. Right click, remove the name. See, Drop it there, Control V, and we're just going to start throwing a few coins over top of this little pile. Select them all and hit L to lock them in place. Otherwise, your players guaranteed will do a thing with them. Okay, so now I got my pile of coins. There's this is also tabletop token stuff, so I'm going to have to find a way to put a circle in here, like magic. It's like a magic spell or something like that was in here. What do you call it? But anyways, saw what it was. I'll have to re-put something in there and get rid of these things as well. Then that's it. That's how I built this. So this one is called the Under Crypt. I'm going to make this available once I remedy the situation, take out all the stuff that is owned by other people that is not my material, or things that you can find, because none of this is my material. This is all just stuff that I found in game and things that I did by myself. So yeah, that's it. Under Crypt, done and done with some cool stuff. Oh, wait a second. My bad. One more cool thing that I would like to show you. Going to involve turning the lights off, and it is going to involve this cool tool that I found a while ago that I'm going to talk about here now. Light Me. So I've already done it with this guy, I believe, and you can see that he's got a candle. You click the candle and you can see that the little light comes on. We pick him up here, and my man's got a candle. That's about as far as he can see. Then he fires up a torch because it's like, oh yeah, I can't really see what's going on. So he's got torchlight, which is pretty cool. The other ones that they have in here are a bullseye lantern, which is going to give you like a direction, whatever direction he's facing. Again, kind of a very cool sort of a thing. The other neat one they have is infravision, which is this purple one, dark vision. So you can cast like a purple shadow as you walk around the hallways and stuff. Thought that was pretty neat, and then you can just turn it off if you want. There's a lamp, kind of the same thing as a torch. Let's just move this guy up over here. Lantern with the hood up, hood down is essentially the same thing as off. I don't see that hood down does anything different. But these are player controllable, which is cool. So if your player's like, yeah, I'm going to kick in my dark vision, he can walk around with his dark vision set up so that, you know, these are the things that would appear. Kind of a neat little application. You can spawn another one with this bag once you find the Light Me thing. I always like to make it a little bit bigger. And you can just basically grab one of these tokens. What you do is set it on top, then just press the Light Me button, and then that's it. B. And this guy's going to have dark vision as well. Go. Pretty neat. So let's normal, and that's her. The Under Crypt from Defiance and Flan. Solid. All right. Adios.